Good evening, Husam Al-Sharif. I'm making this statement with clarification of 3 points exposing blackmail within this context, within this institution. First, I make it clear the last time I've been to Wijchen, to the police department in Wijchen, is 17 October 25. Which I documented in a formal contact formulier to the police in connection with conversation and clear points within this conversation with the police agent, claiming that we met, for example, earlier. I made it clear that I did not. Also listed few points in this connection. So, first point. Second point, on 21 October, within this institution, inside this institution, which is crisis service, in a crisis that they created themselves, here the same people, accused people formally in a police declaration, they fix an appointment with a second-hand frauder, blackmailing me in a very dirty and cheap way. Does your brother know you? Unplanned conversation, which, well, of course, I asked for conversation, requesting, for example, explanation on what ground, with points, for example, on what ground I'm held here, because it realized for me as kidnapping, just sitting here without any single healthcare question, not a single healthcare question, diagnostic question, assessment question, nothing, completely nothing. So I've been introduced to a second-hand crook. Of course, it was clear he is not a professional, healthcare professional, so I dismissed him. But before he is dismissed, he blackmailed me in a very dirty way. Does your brother know you? I answered naively, what kind of question is this? Yes, of course, my brother knows me. But then I realized the blackmail within what they do, what they fix themselves, using dirty makeup works, dirty fraud works, presenting the person to a frauder, creating a shocking event in the way they did with me, for example, in Deze, also here in this location, in two incidents that I described and identified. Of course, my brother will not be able to know me when he is exposed on the other side to the same situation. So, very dirty, cheap blackmail happening within this institution, which started all this already few years now. So I'm exposing this, and I formally declared this by the police authorities. Still after they did that, 21 October, dirty blackmail, very dirty blackmail, and they are in position to deny all this within claimed cover-up from gezondheidszorg. So, of course, very disturbing, because when you are receiving this from a person, you expect totally different thing from him. But does your brother know you? You're dirty first because you involved brothers and relatives in this. Very dirty work. Three contact persons given to these crooks. 3 contact persons fall victim to identity fraud. First on telephone, second on the ground. Ending this with a crooked blackmail, dirty blackmail. Does your brother know you? I feel bad because my relatives fall victim of this. And again, the last meeting cannot, well, this can be known by their administration. I don't know what kind of an institution is this, but cannot happen unless from within the staff, self-staff is involved, facilitating this. So, dirty blackmail, does your brother know you? Third point, once I exposed their telecom scams, basically the reception telephone scam, identifying one of the receptionists who take the call, faking the personality, faking the caller. I know this person 100%. I know her voice. I know everything. Yeah, she is taking my call almost exclusively since 3 years. I realized her link with the worker reception, here the secretariat worker in an incident, and I will explain this incident in this record, thinking this is important. In one incident, I was trying to call the housing company, my housing company, Thalys. So, problem on my telephone, I asked their telephone. So I called the number Thalys. I did not speak, not any word, just calling the number and waiting. The call was answered, but the person on the telephone said, "Yes, Vera." So I said, "What? Hello, I'm calling Thalys." Then suddenly the person changed her words, making herself pretending to be Thalys. So I was standing with Vera. I realized this. The telephone, which should be a neutral telephone, contacts the caller, who is client, with the reception. So the reception received the call and link the patient, for example, or the client with the Thalys. Now this worker take the call, think she thought Vera is calling her, so she told her, "Yeah, Vera." Then she noticed that I am on phone. She made herself Thalys, took the information, of course, delivered nothing, no service, no access to Thalys factually. So this is happening from their reception. But in the same way, on their telephone, client telephone, is happening long time ago on my telephone without any contract, nor, for example, before any care authorization, without anything. They are linking my telephone to their reception exclusively. My calls pass through their reception. Of course, I exposed this long time ago, but I did not understand it well until recently. This person, for example, when I call the police, during the waiting period, welcome by the politie, alle gesprekken worden opgenomen. During this period, she take the call, pretending to be the police, claiming to be the police. On the other side, behind this, the call still go on, continue. The contact is opened. So she commit fraud on my side, claiming to be the police. Do not allow me to speak to the police. In the same way to other slachtofferloket, for example, I could not. To fraud help desk, I cannot. She take the call from the reception here, her reception. On the other side, committing other fraud could be. I don't know what is happening behind this behavior, but this is what is happening on my side. This is a worker from this institution, from this place, taking the call. Their cover up on the other side, or claiming within themselves here that this is from the police side, trying to push it, and they push it on me that this is the police. They try to tell me this is the police. We do not do that. This is their own receptionist. So, incident beyond doubt, clear, exposed everything in another, and you find yourself obligated to use the phone because You're held in a situation, being triggered, blackmailed in a dirty way, a very dirty way, involving relatives in this who fall victim indeed of identity fraud in fixed appointments by them themselves. But on the police side, could be claimed that this telecom scam is coming from the police, so we do not investigate this. So once I exposed their works, an attempt to fix a declaration, a medical declaration, very fast, first without any single, for example, diagnostic of evaluation question, completely not. Without allowing, for example, 3 hours, I asked 3 hours to document the fraud incidents, so the officer of justice understand where the fraud was committed, in how many incidents, what is the status of the victims, without allowing anything, just in the same way they do it in the street. Crook frauder approach you in the street, linking himself to you. They do it here, sending so-claimed specialist to write a document claiming that he met you, while in fact you did not meet him. You only gave her the papers, asked her the necessary time. It's not allowed. Then she said, I will write it. She came to me, created the link, and she want to write a report, for example, about me. Very cheap work. Once their work is exposed, they try to cover up this already long time, also now with all means possible, using all cover-ups possible, claims, cover-up from geestelijk zorg, from anything, that this cannot happen, this cannot, fraudsters within your reception, this cannot happen. In the land of a fraud, this cannot happen. Well, this is happening. And when you say no to this, she is corrupt crook covering up this, covering up their own violations, their own works. So once this, I mentioned this, and I noticed this happening again, because I noticed this long time ago. I saw it, I experienced it, but it was lost like this. With this, they create too much distraction, so you lose your, for example, attention away from the real problem. Once I noticed this again, happening again, they are trying to push toward health and toward gezondheid and toward medications and so. So very cheap. Of course, these people are formally accused by involvement in fraud and identity crimes, also administrative fraud. For example, in many incidents, I send the email, they claim to be delivered, but it didn't. Bringing already fixed response, that problem with the system, but the worker, for example, lied 5 times before we checked that, and it appeared to be in concept, it didn't send. She lied 5 times. If it was, for example, a mistake or a problem with the system, from the first answer, we will realize this, but 5 times lies, then you insist to check it, so then you see it. This is not a mistake. This is not a worker who wouldn't do her work. This is administrative fraud. There is no other word but administrative fraud. In other incident, they deleted the emails back 1 week, so inspection authority, for example, won't be able to investigate that. So also the reports, as if I'm receiving phishing documents that aren't registered, for example, in some authorities. This fixing appointments, person come and link herself and leave. In the way they do it in the street, frauders in the street do that. They do this in the same exact way in so-claimed formal contexts. Once this is exposed, they are doing that. There is long history with these behaviors, starting already with the first incident, which I luckily won 2020. And still, and beyond doubt, this cannot happen, especially the last blackmail incident, unless people from the staff itself are involved, facilitating fixing that. This cannot happen unless, without. And notably, I noticed the person who fixed that. Very dirty, cheap blackmail. I do not comply to blackmail no matter what the consequences is. And here I refer to response to the police, which included a few things that will be spoken with me, that further proceeding maybe will be taken. But until until then, I have to solve a few points with the commission here. And unbelievably, I asked the lawyer, for example, to not contact the Open Bar Ministry. She did. And created this fixed event. They need it because it is needed, it was fixed. So you ask something, they do the opposite. And between I'm supposed to make a deal with another lawyer, which which is difficult to, for example, manage within telephone, that they can know everything you're doing or you're trying to do on your telephone. Today, for example, I've been called by a number claiming to be landelijk, and this is the crook landelijk work. This is landelijk fraud. But been called from this number claiming to be landelijk service arranging advocates for clients. How the crooks do you know about my need for an advocate? I don't do this landelijk crook work. I go to the advocate, try to make a deal with him. This is how I work. So they push this within context to cover up their telephone scams, while indeed, and again, this is happening from their reception. They are hooking my telephones already long time, already without contract, to their crooked reception, delivering me zero service, no solution for anything. This fraudster herself. And when I called her from Germany, I told her something about, for example, an aangifte, old identity fraud aangifte. It was used to fix a situation, reporting me while I was there out. So this is a formal statement. I declare and I record the attention of the authorities. I know part of this work is known by the authorities. Unless there is an official action taken against us, you are being misled by these crooked criminals. Thank you very much.